Hey guys, we are back with an exciting one from Kansept to check out. So let's get into it. All right, guys, what am I so excited about? We have the Bastion in from Kansept, and boy, there is a ton to like here about this particular one. First, we have this really beautiful knurled titanium scale. It's in a gunstock pattern. Really well done. I like this a lot. I like the way that they decided to do the chamfering on this design. Very beautiful. You got a quarter length titanium backspacer. The pocket clip, happy to report, works great. I love that Kansept continues to do these awesome pocket clips. I can't explain why a pocket clip makes me so excited. You got beautiful thumb studs here on the knife. Let's go ahead and check out the blade shape on this one. Oh man, they dialed that detent in. Beautiful S35 in. I apologize, a little bit of tape residue still on there. You got a nice little Bowie blade shape on here. Nice thin grind on it. It is an absolute slicer. I love that a bunch. It is a Ray Laconico design. A little surprised that it's not on the back of the blade. I think that's normally where we see Laconico put his embroider on there, but it is a Ray Laconico design. I would have never guessed in 100 tries that this was a Ray Laconico design. So I think this is really cool to see from him. Not your typical gents style knife. This feels very hard used, heavy duty, dare I even say on the tactical side for something that you would see from Ray Laconico. So kudos to branching out, venturing outside of your normal wheelhouse. Also, this is like a 9.5-inch knife. This thing is a mammoth. If you like a heavyweight, big knife, this is going to be great for you. The weight is not horrifically offensive, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. It is very comfortable in hand. I took it downstairs to do a little bit of cutting with it, and it kind of melts into the hand for me. Now, I know this is going to be way too big for somebody with small to medium hands. You guys have a ton of options out there. I think the small market has way more option than the large hand market, so we're going to get this cool model. And some of you might be okay with that. You might look at this and be like, nah, that's not really for me. But the cutting on it was fantastic. Nice factory edge. As I mentioned, they nailed the geometry on this and is an absolute slicer. It does come out to an acute enough tip to where I was able to do a little bit of detailed work, but I would definitely say Bowies, trailing points, things of that nature, they don't excel in that area. This is going to be more for puncturing. So I think this is going to do that extremely well. Very happy with that cutting performance. Stropped right up when I was done and had a nice clean edge, man. This thing just kind of locks into my hand. Like, I probably make this look like what most of y'all think a bug out probably looks like in your hand for the, again, folks with smaller hands. This is an absolute mammoth, and it's extremely well done. They did a nice job giving you lock bar access relief here, and they did a nice job tuning this detent. It is a 1 shake, 2 shake, depending on how hard you're doing that to close. 1 will definitely get it from medium on, and just a couple of little shakes, light shakes will do it. I'm going to be honest with you, totally thought that was a flipper. I went through the pictures really quick and just thought that was a flipper that they kind of designed the scale to match. I had no idea that it was like a guard, like a guard. Again, why I think this may give you some tactical vibes. Now, the action, I jumped a little bit ahead there. The action is really nice because they do what is called a race washer. So the washer that is on the titanium scale to prevent the titanium from tracking has the washer built into it, and they are grooved out so that the bearings sit in them. So they do have bearings in the pivot for the action, with the race washers being on the titanium scales. I know that a lot of people know that, but I do get people that are still new to Kansept or new to EDC, and they're like, oh, this is a washer knife. No, it is a bearing knife, but it has the pocket washers. We'll be disassembling a couple of these here soon if you haven't seen any of my other Kansept disassemblies, and I'll show you what it is that I'm talking about. So tune in for that. Thumb studs are perfectly placed on here. They do not impede the blade's path. They are really low and tight into the body. So these things absolutely fire, and I love it. I mean, this thing is just really, really well done. Does have a lot of milling internally to try to reduce that weight, which we're going to look at here in just a moment. And the lockup is nice and solid on this particular model. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons so you can see what a 9.5-inch knife looks like compared to others. All right, we do have my tactile knife Archer. I didn't have these pivots lined up. As you can see, it is not a small knife. I would definitely consider that to be full-sized. And I have the Mini Nova, which is smaller than the Archer, and I would consider this to be like a medium knife, even though it is supposed to be smaller. You can see 4-finger grip on that one for me, and actually would be an excellent companion carry to the Bison. I feel like as I'm saying Bison right now that I may have misstated that at the beginning of this video. Bison, I think I said Bastion for some reason. It is the Bison. My editor will also fix that in the descriptor. All right, I got a couple of budget knives that I'd like to compare to for size reference, and then we'll grab the scale. All right, so I did want to bring out my Buster FG because I felt like this is bruiser sized. This is also roughly 9.5 inches, so they compare very favorably. But the Explorer from CMB Made Knives also still full size for me. I'm able to have a little bit of extra knife hanging off the back when I get all 4 on there. So full size knife, as you can see, the Bison is a lot bigger than the Explorer and very comparable to the Buster FG. Let's grab the scale and check the weight on this one. All right, scale out and on. I have no doubts that this is going to come over 6 ounces. I don't think you buy a knife like this, like a Leviathan, like a Sheepdog XL, and think that, oh, it's going to be a 2.5 ounce knife. So I'm thinking like 6'3". Okay, so coming in at 6.6, by comparison, the Buster FG, which is heavily milled but has steel liners, has a big blade, sort of like what the Bison has on here. I think comes in just a little bit more than that, a little less, 6.1. So the all titanium construction and backspacer is coming in a little bit heavier than the Buster FG. I thought for sure that this was going to be a little bit heavier, but it just goes to show that it's not. So you got 6.7. I was like, it was saying 6.6 earlier. I'm not sure what changed versus 6.1 on the Buster FG. So not a lightweight knife, but honestly, not horrific for something this big. All right, time for my final thoughts and impressions on the Bison here, guys. I grade on a scale of 1 to 10. What I take into consideration on that scale is going to be your fit and finish, price point, so money for value, the ergos, and aesthetics, in addition to the performance, both opening and closing and cutting. Ergonomically, this is very, very comfortable. I really like the actual S35VN from Kansept. I think they do a really nice job. You do have one means of deployment. I'm not offended by that, because if you're going to do one, I'd rather have thumb studs than a flipper. But I think, you know, I thought it was a flipper tab when I got it. I was like, okay, it's a dual means of deployment knife. Cool, cool, cool. Would not have expected this to be a Ray Laconico. I was very surprised by that. Love the knurling. The fit and finish on this is extremely well done. The knurling on the pocket clip matching the gunstock knurling, that is a nice little touch that I do appreciate on here. It's just a simple, clean design for a big knife. For folks that love large knives, that want a large knife in their collection, just to have it, a statement piece, as it were. I think this is really good at that, and I think they did a fantastic job with the fit and finish. I like the looks of it. Don't normally go for Bowies, but I think in this instant, I get it. You know, you're going to prioritize puncture over that, because this does feel like it has a little tactical vibe to it, and I dig on that. I think they did a good job designing it. Ray Laconico did a good job designing it, and Kansept did a good job executing on it. I do appreciate they are making the labels that they have to have on there a little bit smaller. They don't do a pivot design with the Kansept logo. Not horribly offensive. I think they could have lightened it up a little bit in color, so that it doesn't really need to be on there. I think there's some out there that, to a valid point, don't have anything labeled on there, and then if you got to put the blade steel on here, put it on the bottom. Anyway, Where am I at on this one? I'm actually going to go 8.2. I love this knife. It is ridiculous, but it is well done. It is a cool design and different, which I love to see from designers, because designers usually stick in their wheelhouse and they don't venture out of it to do stuff like this. So it's a lot of fun to see this, and it's not a horribly offensive price to get this. I will have it linked down in the description below. When you use the link, it does help the channel. I have a discount code now with Kansept, so it'll save you some money at checkout as well. Thanks if you decide to use it. If not, totally get it. I understand. It is not going to cost any extra if you do. Just know that. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be appreciated. If you could leave a comment to help the algorithm and let me know what you thought about this one. A disassembly will be coming. And a special shout out and thanks to my channel members. Guys, that's it for me today. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll catch you out on the next one. Peace.